Meeting recording has started.
I can start, Raksha, right?
Yeah, Ekta, you can.
So, hello all, a very good afternoon. Myself, Ekta Dubey. Before I start, I just wanted to know, am I audible?
Yeah, loud and clear, Ekta.
Yes, Hector.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, on behalf of the Brinalytics team and our title partner, Avaya, we welcome you all and thank you so much for being part of our roundtable, which is Reimagining BPO through digital lenses. So, to start with, I would like to introduce our title partner, Avaya India. Businesses are built on the experiences they provide, and every day, millions of those experiences are built by Avaya. For over 100 years, they have enabled organizations around the globe to win by creating intelligent communication experiences for customers and employees. Avaya builds open, converged, and innovative solutions to enhance and simplify communications and collaborations in the cloud, on premise, or a hybrid of both. To grow your business, they are committed to innovation, partnership, and a relentless focus on what's next. They are the technology company you trust to help you deliver experiences that matter. Now, to start with, I'm happy to invite Kevin Rodrigues, APS Managing Principal at Avaya, who would share his interesting insights on connecting the BPO dots, scope and shape of digital BPO. Gavin, thank you so much for being here. Over to you to start the session.
Thanks, Hector. Thanks for the introduction, and I hope I'm loud and clear, right?
Yes, you are.
So I'll just start off sharing my screen. So if you can just help me to confirm the same.
Sure. Yes, Gavin, we can see the screen.
Okay, perfect. So you talked about experiences, right? And there's a wonderful quote that I would like to begin with, right, on that particular note. People may forget what you said, right? They may forget what you did, but they never forget how you made them feel, right? And we at Avaya connect people, things in ways more immersive and more memorable experiences. And that's the reason Avaya is defined by the experiences that we create. With that note, I'll just begin today's session and would like to touch upon the revolution that we are in post the pandemic, right? So pandemic has brought to the forefront a lot of technological evolution, right? It's fundamentally altered the way we live, we work, we relate to one another. The transformation is unlike, I would say, uh, and we are kind of in the fourth industrial revolution, as we may like to call it, right? It represents a lot of fusion across multiple fields, right? Artificial intelligence, if you talk about robotics, Internet of Things, right? For that matter, even genetic engineering, right? So quantum computing, for that matter. There's a lot that has changed uh, post-pandemic. However, in the last decade or so as well, we have seen a lot of technological advancements. The introduction of Google-less, or rather Google's driverless car, right? It's today that a car can be driven automatically, right? So that's the age we live in, right? Today, a person who is basically uh, maybe differently able, right? You can go ahead and buy an robotic exoskeleton and it is able to walk again. So there are multiple things that have changed with us. The way we basically do our payments, social media, the way we search, applications that create a digital trail is actually really, really massive. Because of all this, we also have changed the way we basically do things today. Travel has changed. Shopping has a lot of AR infused. The way we basically do our shopping today, we could basically go ahead and use augmented reality to assist us in getting to see the feel and feel the products, right? The way we basically do our payments across multiple payment platforms, social media, right? So everything has changed along with our customers as well. And the pandemic has taught us one important thing, that More than we focus on our customers, we also need to focus on our employees, and that's where employees also have changed. Uh, so overall, Gartner basically calls this an everything customer, right? So what does an everything customer mean? They would want to shop online, but they would want to be in the comfort of an in-store experience. Uh, they would want themselves to be served, but at times would also want to interact with a human being, right? So they would want to interact via WhatsApp, Facebook, Messenger, Alexa today, right? So Alexa controls a lot of stuff. So I've seen the latest vehicles coming out of Mahindra being also controlled by Alexa, right? So you can get your sunroof open, you can get your air conditioning going with Alexa, right? So it's simply put us into a connected world, right? But this everything customer, as Gartner calls it, wants to be left alone also at times. So they want to be treated equally but uniquely served, right? So I would say a consistent and expected service, but they want to be pleasantly surprised at times with the way you would basically treat them through your customer experience channels and also deliver products on time with a wonderful experience, right? So I would say that it's not an uh, I would say a customer is not a customer, but it's a segment or a mindset that we basically have, right? That's where everything is changing to. We want to consume services the same way we do things like streaming music. Uh, we, we would basically want to use services and also need that to be applied across all devices, the consistent experience across all devices, right? So that's where a lot of technological advancements have come through in the last era, right? And today the travel experience has changed post pandemic as well. You've seen a lot of people traveling across the board. There are multiple solutions that have also come into market, right? But how does all that get consumed through the platform that you would use, right? So to address the needs of today's everything customer, I would say it's about making the experience effortless, right? So customers that have an effortless experience tend to become fans of your brand. They associate and engage with the brand much more better. More importantly, I would say the word of the mouth, right? So they promote the organization to a next level. So you don't need to actually invest in a lot of marketing. But this everything customer, once taken care of in the right manner, becomes an advocate for you, in other words, right? So how does this everything customer be treated now, right? So in the pandemic, we saw our employees going through a complete technological change as well, right? And we've seen that any motivated, I would say, employee, right, would treat your customers in a completely different manner. So that's the evidence today we have, even coming in from the pandemic era, right? So the motivated employee gave a completely differentiated customer experience to your customers vis-a-vis maybe not so motivated and stressful employee, right? So, along with customer experience, employee experience has also become critical, right? And when we connect experience across devices, touch points, interaction has basically improved for the employee as well as the customers, to sum it up, right? So, what's more important today? How do we bring the customer experience, employee experience, uh, multi experience, in other words, to the next level? Avaya One Cloud is a solution that's brought to the forefront all these capabilities, augmented the experience across the customer, employee experience, multi experience, and eventually created a total experience for you as a customer to consume. It's not a siloed platform, it's a unified platform. So the level of integration that Avaya One Cloud brings has completely blurred the lines of segregation. So most organizations today can connect to where their customers are. For example, if there is an Azure shop, right, you might use it maybe a CRM's been hosted in a Azure shop. Avaya One Cloud can connect to that cloud, enabling capabilities like click to chat. So that's just one example, right? But the possibilities are far beyond that. We could basically use the Avaya One Cloud's engine to take it to the next level by leveraging a lot of other, I would say, pillars, right? So we basically define the solution across these four pillars. Uh, so the first pillar that I would like to talk about is getting connected. It's all about connecting customers with employees, as I quoted initially, right? Be it voice or digital channels, email, social, and so on. You could also get your own channels for that matter. So if you have invested in already a channel like a Facebook or a Twitter, the OneCloud can basically augment you with bringing your own channel as well. Secondly, process orchestration. I think it's about building the use cases, business processes, leveraging every application such as your CRM systems to ensure the customer and employee journeys an orchestrated manner as well. And next is about managing resources, right? So in the pandemic, we have already seen that the more you engage with your employees and provide the employees with the right tools, it brings a lot of it takes away a lot of stress at the employee level, but also helps in improving performance and real-time performance and feedback. And lastly, knowledge and insights, right? So they definitely help to drive and monitor customer experience with analytics, knowledge, virtual assistants, and so on. But going beyond that, being able to assist the employee with the knowledge that is available in your repositories, how you could basically go ahead and automatically present this knowledge in a very intuitive manner to your employees is the key that we have seen during the pandemic era. There were a lot of new employees that joined the organizations across the board. Now, mentoring them was the biggest challenge everybody had because everybody is working from home. How do you basically mentor a person step by step? So that's where knowledge management and the insights that it basically brought through was an key aspect which kept your employees engaged, kept your employees updated, and also assisted them in their productive journey, right? So that's where Avaya One Cloud brings all these capabilities to the forefront. And to add to it, we have the likes of Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, IBM, right? We can connect to these cloud platforms as well. So more than I would say a platform, it's a deployment model, right? It provides you access to extensive market leaders in their own rights. So irrespective of areas of expertise, we are basically connected or collaborate with a lot of leaders in this market, like wherein Calabrio, Google, Affinity, Nuance, and so on, right? So that brings the additional layer wherein although you would use Avaya One Cloud for a specific use, but you could also augment it with the industry leaders and create a complete orchestrated journey for your customers, right? And with that, you also get complete flexibility in how you consume this service by supporting private, public, and hybrid options, right? It's also powered by intelligent automation, which realizes the benefits of deep machine learning. It only helps in driving efficiency, speed, agility across organizations, I would say, right? And this is a real technology differentiator that enables us across public and private cloud deployments. Because in the same amount of time, you could go to market, right? So that's one solution which could be single tenanted for you and could be dedicated to you and at the same time deployed at the speed of a public cloud, right? With that, I'll just leave you with a particular case study that we have deployed the solution across. So this is Alorica, and it's a leading business process outsourcer across the globe, across 14 countries, 12 time zones, 130 plus sites. They rely on us using Avaya One Cloud capabilities. So their primary use case to basically get to Avaya One Cloud was around the scaling of the agents, right? So they wanted to address their fluctuations, right, during the normal and peak periods of demand. And that's where the Avaya One Cloud solution kicked in. And today they are able to augment this technology across other industry leaders and bring one of their investments on one single platform, right? And that's where you see they're using it across 100,000 agents globally. So a wonderful solution which basically augments you at the part of the journey that you are on your customer experience or employee experience, bringing both these experiences together, orchestrating it on one platform, and bringing it to a total experience, as we would like to call it, that every customer, uh, every individual today wants from a particular brand, right? Because as I quoted initially, you would relate to a brand by the way the brand makes you feel, right? So with that note, I would hand it back to Ekta, and would like to hear from the industry panelists that we have today as to how you augment your businesses today and change that simple customer experience to a total customer experience for your customers. Ekta, over to you.
Yes. Thank you, Kevin, for sharing your insights. So, before we move on to the interesting roundtable discussion, I would like to understand if we have any questions from Kevin. We would love to take them. So, you can directly put your questions if you have. So, I believe we might have questions when we open the session for the roundtable discussion. So, moving on to our roundtable discussion, the topic which talks about is from the expert lens, BPO megatrends that would dominate 2022. And I'm happy to welcome our speakers. We have Mr. Arka Ray, Senior Vice President, Business Development and Solutions with EOS, Mr. Chandrasekhar Amolkar, Head Process Excellence, IKS Health, Mr. Nitin Chako, Managing Director and SBU Head with ICANN BPO, Mr. Varun Sharma, Head Business Development with KServe BPO, Mr. Deepak Shetty, Vice President Business Operations with Datamatics Global Services, Mr. Durga Prasad Mudasu, Executive Director, Cropon BPO, a NetSoft company. We also have Mr. Paritosh Gandhi, Director Cloud and Consulting Practice Avaya. Also, Mr. Vivek Zakade is the leader data services with IKS Healthcare. He hasn't joined, but he might join in some time. So now I being the moderator of the roundtable discussion, I would like to open up for the few questions. The first question that we had from Mr. Vivek, though he has not joined, but I would like to take it forward, is on exploring the new digital BPO landscape. So unless and until we have Mr. Vivek's insight coming in, I would like to invite thoughts any one of the speakers who would want to highlight on the digital landscape. So anyone of you can start for the first pointer. So we have anyone talking on the digital landscape of BPO?
I think while I don't have much comments, I think it will be much better for the industry representative to talk of that. But hi everybody, this is Paritosh Gandhi from Avaya. I lead the cloud and consulting practice, and with the 20 plus years of experience across different industry verticals, including BPO, I think uh, what I would like to put my feedback on the pieces. I think the disruption has happened everywhere, and I think BPO is nowhere left behind. Okay, so BPO industry has also seen this disruption, and post pandemic, there's a lot of focus on digitization because if you look at, still there is a majority of the workforce which is working from home, and that is one key piece when we look at the most impact which has happened is on the BPO industry. Okay, so I think that is where the place or the digitization or the digital transformation has suddenly taken a wave, and everybody is talking digital. So I think that is one of the factors where this whole piece has come in. And secondly, I think I would say there could be multiple factors which BPO industry is looking into this. Okay, so whether we took off business process automation, we have to fasten up that part. Uh, so secondly is the data and security when people are working from remote places, I think the data uh, containment or the security part of that comes very important. Automation people have started focusing on. So I think that's where the whole landscape piece comes in, and I think uh, people have started looking into it, and that's the change which we are seeing in the industry.
Yes. Thank you, Paritosh. Anyone else? I believe somebody else also wanted to share some thoughts. Mr. Chandrasekhar, yes, from my case, if something you would want to chip in.
Yeah, thanks, Ekta, and good afternoon to all the panelists and people who has joined us for this session. Yeah, I mean, in the last 2 years, you know, the way the world has kind of recovered from the pandemic, and during the pandemic times, there has been a significant shift where organizations are compelled to look at more digital ways of working. Uh, the focus on technology has been immense, uh, and especially where you have a distributed workforce. Uh, Managing that workforce has been a real challenge for employees, for the employers, managers, and that's where technology has been a key player there. We have today platforms where employees can collaborate, managers can supervise, and also keep a track on their productivity and utilizations. So that's a significant change that has happened. Another change that has happened is on the training side, and I know that there is a question around that which we're going to talk in detail. But then the way we used to train 2 years back and the way we are training now has completely changed, with more digital and virtual mediums coming into place, and that has completely changed the game for the L&D space. On the process excellence, or when I look at processes, yes, RPA has definitely been a game changer, where more and more processes are, you know, becoming strong contender for RPAs. They've been evaluated uh, to see if we can make our processes more nimble, simpler, and faster. And then we have different RPA, you know, you can say players today in the market uh, who come who come with and then for that there is something called as how to effectively create an RPA solution, right? So earlier we had RPA players. Now there are secondary players who help, come as a, come with collaboration with the RPA players to build up the RPA solution. So yes, technology definitely on the process side is also uh, assisted us, and then it's kind of becoming you know a big player that we've seen in changing the game in the pre-pandemic and the post-pandemic times. So yes, technology, your learning and development, workforce management, everywhere we see analytics and technology being at the forefront, supporting businesses to make that change happen.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your insights. Moving
Ekta,
on to
hi.
the next.
I have a
Sorry,
question for Mr. Paritosh.
please.
Yeah, hi, Mr. Paritosh.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is Durga Prasad. I am from Corporate BPO, Hyderabad. Uh, See, the technology definitely has changed a lot, post pandemic. I run domestic BPO with about 3,000 plus people. So we run mostly with the financial sectors. I just thought, the solution which I am looking at while I'm a panelist, but is so we deal with a lot of customer care executives where they deal with the financial sectors where your lending has definitely went up 10 times in India or across the globe. The leakage in terms of the revenue is something which is definitely affecting in terms of the digital management. Like for example, we collect money from the customers and everything is digital, no more a field kind of thing. You use various channels, gateways, like your Paytms or your Google Pays. That is something which is really a worrying factor with regard to my clientele. They ask various questions as to how do you control the leakages, because that runs up into some millions of rupees.
So, sir, I would say it depends segment to segment. I think the whole landscape changing and the whole neobank concept coming in India, I think, which is purely digital native banks and digital native organizations coming out of India has proven that the data security and the security of these things have been taken care of on the cloud part. Okay, so that is something which is proven, I would say, what we see
Yeah.
from our angle when we talk to multiple customers. However, yes, you are right that there is a perception. There is a segment of customers in India. If I look at cooperative banks, the kind of clientage they handle is different, and they do not trust these channels still. If I go to the small finance banks where they do a lending of less than 20,000 rupees, I would say that's the clientage again which has a doubt in these digital channels, and they still prefer that going to the nearest outlet or going through the agents is what they prefer as a channel. But slowly and slowly this is moving away, I would say. Yeah, so there could not be a time where you will not see all those things, I would say, but it's a perception thing. But I think government is taking care of, new regulations are coming in on these things, the new technology which are coming up. I think policies are going around that. More and more strengthening of rules are happening. So I think it will take time, but I think still, I think in India, if you look at, there has been a tremendous revolution around this on the data security part, the guidelines, the policies. The RBI has put those guidelines there. So I think there is a truth and secure data regulations there, I would say. But yeah, perceptions are there, and I don't see a point that I can totally deny that that is not there. We also come across these kind of clientage or these are customers who interact with these clients, right? So uh, but that will slowly and slowly move off. So what happens is, right now what we do is we talk to them about the hybrid piece, that you should go for a hybrid kind of a solution where you are able to do both of them, and then uh, get them on call, get them on premise, and slowly try and seamlessly migrate or train them to digital channels. So something like people of these clientage comes and still calls the call center. Voice will never go. Voice will still become a key point for them. So they will call. But when they call, I would say, train them to move towards digital. Train them that there is an app. We are sending you or pushing you a link. When you click this, it will open that app in your regional or a local dialect. And slowly when they get trained, and slowly and slowly when they adopt these technologies one time or two times, it will help them out to take care of all these things. uh, Simple example, I think 3 years back my father never used to do digital. No mobile banking, no Paytm, no nothing. My mother never used to do that. Today they are used to that Google Pay. Even to a vegetable vendor they go, my mother says Google Pay karti hu. So that's what the change is, right? And that's how the landscape has changed. I
Yeah.
hope I'm able to answer your question.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, in fact, pandemic has definitely, in a way, did a lot of good things for us to move into the digital mode. But most importantly for for businesses like us, the cost optimization is more. You know, the, so this really helped.
But
Thanks for answering my question.
yeah, but digital will also help to lower the cost. I think we'll cover that later on when some other questions come. I'll try and address that point again.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Parthesh, for answering the question. Moving on to a second interesting point is understanding how emotionally aware CX will be a major differentiator. And here I would like to invite the thoughts of Mr. Varun Sharma, Head Business Development with KSR BPO. So over to you, Varun, your thoughts on the same.
Sure. Thanks, Ekta. Can I just confirm if you can hear me?
Yes, Varun, we can hear you. Perfect.
Okay, excellent, excellent. I just want to kind of take this opportunity to kind of thanks Ekta, Avaya, and the entire panelist for this platform. It's amazing to kind of get connected to all the industry leaders, right? And there's so much of learning that we all look forward to in this session. I just want to kind of start with a couple of points on the previous discussion points, and then probably come to the emotional awareness section of this program, right? See, I think on the digital landscape there are a lot many things that have changed during this pandemic time. And I think specifically if you look at kind of getting the collections done, or a lot of feet on street work that was done earlier, I mean, because of the lockdown, all of that activities eventually got stopped, right? So I think not only the organizations changed the way they were doing digital transformations, but even BPO solution providers, right, have been able to kind of seamlessly do all those changes within using their own technology solutions, or probably partnering with a couple of industry leaders, right? So a lot of things being done on that side for sure. I think coming on the emotional awareness, or how the transformation on the emotional awareness is going to happen. I think the first and foremost is, if you have to be a differentiator to your peer, right? You have to do things very very differently, right? You can't just keep on doing the same old task and be the differentiator. You have to make the changes, right? And you have to then try and drive outcomes by partnering, or by having deeper engagements with your customers. By saying that, what I'm trying to say is, for example, Gartner, for example, says that emotional AI is going to be the top four CX trends, right, in the upcoming years, right? A lot of technology today is moving towards self-service, but imagine if you could use emotional AI to kind of identify trends and sentiments, or give signals to us that whether the customer is happy, not happy, right? Move the self-service to live agents, right? I think all of that will eventually pull a lot of data, not only for the BPO service provider, but also for the end organizations, right? To work on those data points and kind of give a different kind of an experience to their customers, right? So I think this is where I think emotional AI will play such an important role in terms of the way the brands are kind of communicating with their end customers, right? And not only just providing them seamless interactions or experience, but also collecting a lot of data points, which probably then the product teams, or teams at the organization's level could kind of then change in terms of the way they want to manage customer experience. Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks, Varun.
Yeah.
Anyone else would like to add to this point? Since we had Varun making this point, so just wanted to understand. Okay. Okay, so moving to the third point, thank you, Varun, for your insights. Now, I have another interesting point to discuss, which is transformation of BPO services in India. Now, first, I would like to invite thoughts of Mr. Deepak Shetty from Datametrics Global Services. So, Mr. Deepak Shetty, what are your thoughts on this?
Thank you, Ekta. Good afternoon, everyone. So, to start off, I want to start off with the interesting term, right? So, we are talking about BPO industry here. The first point that I would like to make is, we should coin it now as BPM. It has already transformed from a business process outsourcing to a business process management team. And we have seen significant, importance given to this segment in the last few years. It was not, or it doesn't remain a cost, is not of primary importance now. It's not a primary motivation for outsourcing now. We now look at the value that we bring out in this. Previously, companies chose to outsource the non-critical jobs, right? And this scenario has altered as a result of the technological improvement that has happened. And now we are facing a new set of demands. So we are no longer institutions, who work on lowering the cost. Now we have become into a key player, in improving operational efficiency, who can deliver and value to their customers with the digital transformation efforts. The point I want to make out, for this transformation to happen, it was important for BPO organization not just to bounce back, from where they left, or where they used to be before pandemic, but they also had to show a willingness of how they can bounce forward in this segment. And I am proud to say that we as an industry have done it really well, and we have done, I would say, it on a large scale. I don't think pandemic has impacted the BPM industry in India. I will like to take some examples here. How which are the disruptive technologies that have changed the BPO segment in India, which is cloud computing, as Gavin said, artificial intelligence, machine learning, virtualization. So what I would like to say is, the industry is leveraging benefits not only by delivering competencies, economies of scale, and India as a segment, it has a strategic geographical positioning when we are talking of BPO outsourcing to this segment. To elaborate this term, I want to give some examples, right? Today, the entire BPM industry, which was erstwhile BPO, we employ close to 45 to 50% of commerce and art graduate. We have engineers in the range of around 15%, doctors around 10%, PhDs, and CAs in the profile, right? So this has completely changed. When it started off in 2000, the profile of people who are working in this industry has completely changed, right? So I see a great, I would say, trend or a great, how this segment is growing. So from a recent report, I could quote that, the market size was valued at around 230 odd billion in 2020, and it is growing at exponentially, at a CAGR of almost 8 to 9% year on year. So all that we need to know, while we can always say that India is a hot destination for BPM work, we have to be ready with one thing, which is, how we can increase, or, as the industry matures, how we can uh, make make sure that we do not reach a plateau, or, how we can make our ROI improving, right? So we have to command premium, we have to command premium pricing over the customers that we are servicing in this segment. And the only way that we could do is, in terms of innovation on how and where the work gets done, create of domain industry related, or, ready talents that we could get. And we always need to have a agile and flexible workforce strategies on this one. Just to quote one more, IFM report. So the number of invoices, that was processed, it increases year on year 28%, 20 to 30%. But the effort on, processing this is constantly getting reduced. It is less than 10%. Means when I say that, we are not adding people to the forte, we are adding technology, and that is very important, since India's major population at this point, is young and under 30, and we have, management institutes who cater to the BPM side of study now. I'm sure, we will reap benefits in the years to come on this. What do you, Ekta?
Thank you. So, on the same point, I would like to invite the thoughts of Mr. Adkari. So, what are your thoughts on the transformation of BPO services in India?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, audible.
All right, great. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So, let me start with something that Mr. Shetty, already covered. Uh, the term BPO, right, that has changed from BPO to BPS or BPM now. And that's a significant point, okay? People often kind of don't realize how important it is to, use term like BPS or BPM now. Uh, Back in 2002, when I started my career in this industry, they used to call it BPO, right? Typically, low complexity work, voice support. These are the kind of activities the industry used to support. Now, 20 years have passed since then, and the way the industry has matured, right, is phenomenal. If you talk about this BPO outsourcing boom or the offshoring boom that happened between, I believe, 1998 and 2007, and then we got a hit in 2008 because of the US subprime crisis. But the industry matured and kind of recovered from there. Now, something that we all need to understand is that it's been 20 years, right? And India as a destination, right, offshoring destination or outsourcing destination for international clients is still very significant, right? uh, we kind of still enjoy majority share as a service provider. And why is that? Now, I think we as a country and people, we are quick learners, right? And I still recall you know uh, maybe somewhere around 2010, 2011, how organizations were like focusing on lean methodologies, Six Sigma methodologies, digitization, right? Not digitalization but digitization. Then focus on workforce management tools, various innovative or commercial models, right? And that is how we could differentiate ourselves, right? And even today we kind of hold that edge over other destinations, right? If you talk about China, Philippines, other upcoming, destination like LATAM as service providers, we still hold that edge because we learn fast, right? And because the kind of technologies we bring to the table for our clients is something that kind of gives us that edge. Now, if you ask me, my thought around how this entire outsourcing thing, came about, there are two critical factors. One is the operational cost that I believe Mr. Shetty also mentioned, and the second point that we could offer was affordable IT solutions. Now, the cost factor is still relevant. Even today, I think the cost factor, if you go to any client, approach any client with whatever solution you have, maybe that is best of the solutions, but if you don't get your pricing right, you lose the deal. So cost is still there, but I think the dependency of, on people, right, or the cost associated with people, that to some extent has kind of, is kind of diminishing now, right? And that is because the kind of automation, the kind of digital solutions that we see nowadays, right? So definitely, digital solutions, flexible digital solutions, solutions, which can scale up quickly, solutions which can, which should have a very good reach, right? And when I say reach, something, and someone just mentioned, right, that uh, when you build an app, right, and if you're into lending business, right, where your ticket size or loan size is just 10,000, 5,000, and goes to your target segment is maybe, the rural population, then your app, your technology solution should be flexible enough that you can customize it to the requirement of that particular person who may be illiterate or like, hardly literate, right? So that kind of digital solutions, that kind of flexibility in solution, that kind of, ability to scale up quickly, scale down quickly, is something I think which would probably, market will go ahead and buy, right? uh, an organization which has about 2000 or 3000 employees, right, uh, and needs to invest, the first thing that comes to our mind would be the cost, the price. You may say that in the long run you will recover the cost, and you will probably get the benefits and all, but the upfront investment, if that is huge, right, then that's a challenge, that's a problem. And I think every product company, and Paritosh would be able to probably say that every product company, right, product solution company rather, when they go out to market, approach a client, uh, cost becomes a point of discussion, definitely price, right? So flexibility, there, like different type of, pricing models are going to help. And if you talk about, some of the recent development that I have observed, right, in couple of years, like, ever since this COVID hit us, uh, and basically offshoring, because I come with, like, international offshoring or international outsourcing background. So what I have noticed is that a lot of, you know demand is now in the area which is more of customer facing, right? And when I say customer facing, not only process, even the technology solutions, right? They would ask for chatbots, they would ask for intelligent IVRs, right? They would ask for, dialer integrated omni channel CRM solutions, OCR plus RPA kind of solutions. So this entire customer facing kind of process, right, gives you a huge opportunity, right, to kind of bring in digital. In back office, what I feel from my experience, the scope to automate is limited, right? But when it comes to your processes where uh, you kind of interacting with the customer, right, there are multiple touch points with the customer, there is more scope to bring in, digital solutions, innovative digital solutions. And I think that is something which is need of the hour. And the good thing about our industry, right, in India, is that we have always kind of managed to, stay ahead of the curve, be it the technology solutions, be it, various delivery models, be it, commercial models. So organizations who kind of can focus on digital solutions, focus on solutions which are, product oriented, right, are, I think, kind of, will grow, right? uh, Sorry, you wanted to say something, Ekta? All right. So I just conclude with saying that, organizations who focus on, digital solutions, innovative kind of, pricing models, product-led offerings would probably survive and kind of grow compared to organizations who would still kind of follow the traditional approach of larger the headcount, bigger the deal, and more number of people, we get more revenue. I mean, in short run it might help, but in long run it's going to be like your kind of abilities to kind of adopt to digital solutions. And if you have in-house solutions, take it to the market, try to send those as point solutions, and that is how you can probably survive and grow in this industry.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Ray, for
Thanks.
answering
Uh,
this insights.
so,
Yes,
Ekta,
Paritosh, please.
yeah, I just want to take this permission of this panel here to ask one question because we are talking of trends on the services in this industry, and I'm quote BPS industry, not the BPO, because services. It's truly said by Mr. Shetty and Mr. Ray that services become important now. I want to understand because everybody is industry stalwart here, and you have a lot of experience. I want to understand more on the service modeling part, like what I am used to understand. Looking at this industry, it used to be an agent-based billing, the calls coming to agents, how many agents, how many resources we are putting in. It used to be like that, and that's where the trend of this outsourcing was coming in. There has been a tremendous shift on the focus on the services. You are right on that. How much is that model of selling something basis the outcome, basis the selling or the basis the value is coming to picture? So what is your thoughts on that, and how is that changing, and what are that end clients who are coming from that international people are looking for? Is there a change in those billing models? How you are trying to put that value to your customers? How are you trying to give them that value by changing your business models or selling models? That is what I want to understand.
So I would like to start on this, as Gavin said, everything is customer, right?
Yep.
So everything. So that is the start point today. It is no longer a output driven market. Means you produce 100 in a day. AST and all those things are irrelevant now. SLAs are relevant now. When you sign a contract, quality is expected, turnaround time is expected. So what is more important now is the value that you bring to the table, right? How do we make sure that the customer experience of our clients, how do we enhance that? How do we improve their NPS scores? What are the things that we can do from an end-to-end perspective? So previously, as Arka said, it was like 20 years back, it was one process at a time, and now we stitch it together, right? So how do we deliver an end-to-end component is what the customers are looking for, and same stands for the employees who are working on it. So right, we need to understand that we have, while we are delivering value to the customer, we also need to deliver value to the person who is working on that particular process. So how do we make sure that he grows up in the value chain? How do we make sure that we understand what he's doing today and how we can improve tomorrow, right? It cannot be a monotonous job anymore. It is not like 40,000 characters per word or anymore. It is the value that is bringing to the table. And that is where I said, your L&D team comes to the forte, where a lot of emphasis is laid on training, getting these people, step up the ladder, make sure they work on innovation. When I say innovation, they are bright talents. They have seen the market. They understand. They are users of this component. So what all things they can come get to the table is something that we look at. At Datamatics, we make sure that every employee has to go to a particular set of training, particular set of hours they need to contribute specifically on the L&D segment, where we enrich the talent. There are knowledge portals where we keep telling them, okay, it's not just Excel. How do we enhance their advanced Excel skills, right? So all those things. So once you develop an individual, he believes in the organization, he believes in the work that he's doing, and he's able to contribute at least 20% more than that he's doing today. And that is the actual, I would say the TCO component that we look at, right? So you already reduce that and the benefits can be passed on to the customer. So as I said, innovation and moving up the value chain is something that we look at.
Thank you.
Yeah. Another thing, I just wanted to add here, Paritosh, that so while there are different pricing models, traditionally we kind of stick to FT based model, and I call it as the most safest model, right? Uh, Over a period of time, organizations have moved to transaction based models, and some have been, you know, uh, you can say they've gone ahead and taken the risk also to get into outcome based models. There are certain businesses which are designed in such a way where outcome based model becomes, or that's only prevalent model. which the business recognizes. Right? I mean, at IKS, coming from a healthcare background, being a healthcare company, if you have to give value to your providers, they would want to understand how many more patients they are looking at, right? So it's more of an outcome, and then whatever services that you render, right, has to ensure that the physician at the end of the day is able to generate more revenue. So it's more from driven more where we look at handling all the chore to the core of that person's business. So while the physician focuses on the core, we at IKS we focus more on the chore of everything that they do, right from handling the interaction between the patient and the doctor to looking at the entire revenue cycle management, the coding, right, and other services. So what here, and that's where the change in pricing models have come, where rather than charging the customers on per transaction basis, now customers are looking at asking us to partner with them, joint at the hip to deliver value to the organization.
Revenue
So
share is also coming up. Yeah.
absolutely. So there are a lot of focus that's been put in, as Mr. Shetty said, that how can we improve our customers more business so that they're able to generate more value for their end customers, right? And then that from a traditional, and not everything can be outsourced. It also sometimes gets into more consulting assignments where we're able to do a part of the job. Maybe that's not an organization's core forte to handle it from an outsourcing standpoint, but at least a consultative approach is taken to work with the clients to able to help them improve their processes and add more value. So that's also basically models that we've come up with, and then I look at it as a step in the door. Most organizations, you know and this is an opportunity for them to get into the customer side of business, understand what is upstream, and then see how much of that they can include as part of their offerings in future. So that's how I've seen also the BPM industry kind of growing, where what we used to do was you know pure labor arbitrage to moving to more value based care. Right.
Sure. I think I'll connect with you offline maybe sometime because I still feel these are volatile models, and so I want to understand whether there are proven models or so. Let's take it offline. But I think yeah,
Sure.
I got the point. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing insights. Moving
Can
on to
I,
the fourth interesting point, that is
sorry,
how
can
does
I
the
can I
Mhm.
sorry.
spend just sorry? Can I spend just 2 minutes on this?
Yeah, please.
Yes.
I think let's
Sure.
do that. It's an
Right.
interesting
So,
topic.
I agree with both, what Mr. Molkar and Mr. Shetty shared, right? Just one thought, Paritosh, for uh, an organization like yours, right? I think flexibility needs to be the key word going forward. It can't be like, my way or highway, right? And when I say flexibility in terms of pricing as well as delivery model, right? And what the trend that I see in the international markets, right, is that it needs to be, outcome driven, right? Whatever pricing you go back to the client with, I understand that FT is a traditional kind of a, pricing model and a safe pricing model for us, but mostly it doesn't really kind of work with international clients, right? You can start with that, but eventually you have to switch to a transactional based or outcome based. Now when I say output driven, the reason I am not using outcome based, because in every kind of process you cannot have outcome based kind of or gain share kind of pricing model, but definitely needs to be output based, right? So your performance will probably decide how much you get paid, right, or how much penalty you need to pay. We like it or not, that is what's going to happen in future, right, because of the competition and the kind of tech solutions coming in. And I'll just leave you with a thought that, and this is from my experience. There's a huge deal that I was kind of leading in ASEAN region, right, where they were outsourcing a lending process to us, right? And a small part of lending basically, uh, which was like, application support. And when I say application, basically, when you apply for loan, right, you need to fill up an application and send it over to the lender, right? And there will be a processing
Mhm.
part. So the initial part that we were managing, or rather, that was the scope of work. But the challenge that they highlighted with us was that, uh, there is like, seasonal fluctuation, right? And substantial. like two times, three times of the standard kind of volume. And when you kind of have to kind of price a solution like that, it becomes a challenge. You don't want to overprice it, and you don't want to underprice it as well, right? So then we finally went ahead and proposed them a gig solution, like a crowdsourcing kind of solution. And this was when I was working with Concentrix, uh, and we proposed a platform where it's like a crowdsourcing kind of thing, and we all know about gig economy, right? Just for the months where there is a sudden fluctuation, all these temporary resources will manage the additional volume, lower complexity processes, and my permanent resources will continue to support the key processes, the key activities. And that is how we manage it. So see, the bottom line is that flexibility is very important today. If you want to survive in this market, be it a product company or service company, flexibility in pricing model, flexibility in delivery model is an absolute must. Otherwise,
Definitely.
it is very difficult to survive. So I just wanted to share that with you folks. Thank you so much.
So, Arka, I'll just add to that, more than flexibility, it's the agility. Okay, how agile you are, to shift directions, whether different techniques can be adopted across departments, when you are processing, when your business processes are automated. So we'll have to work on those agility model too, when we are doing this. So that is where you tend to gain, from a pricing perspective.
Thank you, Mr. Deepak. Now, moving to the next discussion, that fourth pointer, how does increasing digitalization has benefited the BPO industry? And here again, I would like to invite thoughts from Mr. Deepak. So please, your thoughts on this.
Thank you, Ekta. This is a topic I'm sure everyone will love to contribute. The reason is this industry has seen a dream run in the past 2 decades. How we have witnessed innovation, how we have seen huge growth opportunities, how the biggies have entered into this market. But future of this industry is dependent upon agility, as I said, flexibility and willingness to adapt to new growth and the technology drivers. So some of the things that I wanted to talk about here is emphasize on process automations, right? It definitely leads to lower cost, low errors, and all those stuff. But what it brings about, or what it brings to the table is improved customer experience, and that is the theme for the day, right? So I would like to talk on this subject. It brings enhanced employee morale, right? It improves communication. It increases transparency, among the people who are working on the process. So all those things are very relevant, or I would say, the kind of benefits that digitization has brought to the table. One is from a process streamlining, right? So we all understand, efficiency is defined in how well time, effort, money are utilized to complete a process. But that is today it's much beyond that. When we are including digitization, it not only works on reducing the time that it takes to complete a task. It also reduces the cost of doing it correctly. So when I say that, we have to look at the TCO part, how much the organization who was outsourcing to you as used to spend from an end-to-end perspective, and how much efficiency you can bring to the table. So whenever a business process is automated, you can expect reliable outcomes coming out of it. The second important thing, which every organization talks about is, how do I increase my productivity piece, right? So definitely technology helps you do that. And, uh, finally, I would say process automation enables employees to take, I would say, use their better use of their time at work on that part. Transparency, this is one thing which has, I would say, come out as a strong point between us and the customers today. Uh, is the trust, how much the customer trust you, that is more important, right? And only with these digital things coming into place, you are able to tell him the entire, you are able to show him the entire workflow, you know of your organization's visibility. They do not have to worry about what the customer, your vendor is doing for you. They can see it right on a dashboard. They can visualize how the processes are happening, what are the backlogs, what are the bottlenecks, what are the bottlenecks. We can get clear insights with them. So that is helping. Quality, I told it's a given thing, but with the adoption of technology, we always sure, once we do that, you can always expect a same outcome coming every time, right? Which with that I mean, consistency, right? So we need not take some of the process. It is like STP, we call it as a straight through process, right? So you can always look at delivering higher quality to your customer. And then agility, as Arka said, we need to do that, in today's market. That is a very important thing. We have to be agile. We have to change with the changing times. We have to include technologies that will not only speed up the process, but also help in the final outcome. And all these things, that what it has done, it has enhanced the decision making power, not only with us, but also with the customer. So the theme that Datamatics also brings to the table, right? So we talk about building intelligent solutions. So how it can enhance customer productivity, customer experience. So that is what we are looking for. So transparency, full visibility is a key theme that I think that will help our customers today when we embrace technology.
Thank you, Mr. Deep. Over to you, Mr. Paritosh. Your thoughts on the same.
I think Mr. Deepak has covered basically, and like I said, so what I would say is I think the services part and the experience what he carries he's already explained. But from my side I would say digital communication is key foundation for digitization, and basically like we discussed and we heard that there are three main key areas: automation, what I could hear, uh, and he talked about the advantages of process automation, process simplification, and all that stuff. Secondly, it's about all data security and privacy, and I would say the cloud systems have been widely used now. I think because of again the advantages there, it's faster to access, minimizes the risk, the compliance is more heavy, the security is more heavy, and technology also provides an easy, hassle-free communications. I would say for the remote working piece. So I think especially at this I would say the time when people are doing remote workers and people are working from multiple different geographical locations, or I would say it's not within the premises, right? It's open. So I think these things are helping the whole process of digitization. The digital technology is playing a key role. And lastly, obviously the new trends and innovations, I think social AI, somewhere we have all seen we talk about this new gen XYZ audience, right? uh, they are more into doing themselves. They are more eager to do self surveys, more eager to learn themselves. Then we used to have a methodological process that okay, I have to go through this and then only I will be able to do this. They are more into exploring, right? And that's where the social presence is coming into picture. So I think social and AI is able to make organization adoption of these channels is able to make organizations connect to this new audience with this new innovative approach, new things. And at Avaya, I would say we provide digital communication, which is key to this whole digitization. And we work with the industry to provide the effective interaction in both customer experience as well as employee experience, making it total experience. And I think somewhere in the audience, I would say, my peers had already said that foundation to customer experience is employee experience. If you enable your employee with the advanced technology, if you enable your employee uh, and improve their productivity, it will obviously impact and increase your productivity on the and CSAT on your customer experience side. Uh,
Absolutely.
with Avaya, I think we will offer, like we have been discussing, we are offering the complete portfolio of calling Avaya One Cloud, which is like delivering omni-channel experience to private cloud, hybrid cloud, public cloud, different kind of pricing models, whether you are looking for an on-prem, whether you're looking for a pure SaaS kind of a model, whether you're looking for a hybrid in mix and match. A lot of openness, I think you have seen into the earlier presentation from Gavin, from on the whole piece. We work on the openness and the integration. We have a lot of partners we integrate with. I think so that is making a difference, and that's how we are supporting this industry and the complete digitization process.
Thank you, Paritosh. Anyone would like to add something here, or can we move on to the next question? So there's one more question for you, Paritosh. I would like you to cover is driving customer experience with remote customer experiences. So if you can share your thoughts on this.
Driving customer experience through remote. I'm sorry, can you repeat that question? uh,
Yeah. It's driving customer satisfaction with remote
Satisfaction. Yeah,
customer
I thought so.
experience.
Somewhere I read the same thing. Okay, that's all.
No
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
Yeah. So CSAT. Okay. CSAT in the remote experience. Okay. Uh, I think again we have been talking of transformation and digitization. I think all of these things are leading to improving the CSAT part, right? But whenever we talk of this remote customer experience and why we are talking again, because it's all post pandemic, right? We never used to talk of this remote thing, right? Uh, I would again speak about this total experience, and I think for me, a few key pieces which enhances the whole CSAT is uh, one, I would say, empower your employees with advanced technologies. Okay, if they are able to do things simplified way, if you increase their productivity, everything gets increased and your customer satisfaction increases, because if they are happy, whether we talked about the first point where we talked about emotions, whether we talked about this second or third point on digitization, all of these things are actually leading to their productivity. And if their productivity increases, the way they interact with the customers, your end clients, the ways they serve the people, I think it will increase the CSAT part. Second, I think enable communications into your business processes and applications. I think gone are those days where you load with multiple different applications on your FT screens and then they have to toggle between them, or even for your end customers, I would say that you come through this channel only or this channel only. People are looking for a seamless. They come from any channel, they use anything. They should be able to have that seamless experience, and that can only happen when you blend this technology into your business processes. If you keep your business processes separate and your technology tools separate, I think it will become very difficult. So I think blending of these things into each other will simplify things, and once it is simplified, automatically that customer satisfaction will come in. So enable more click to calls, enable more messaging or bots from your applications, enable self service. All those things will help in improving the customer satisfaction. uh, Third, I would say, I think somebody had mentioned this point, and I would like to reiterate that. Integrate your, or I would say, bring your back office or service delivery to customer communications. So let's not keep that back office as back office and front end people as front end people. Uh, there has this line has to be gone away now, and I think somewhere this has to blend so that they are able to get that timely response. They are able to reach out to that. I would say commitments very quickly. Okay, and fourth, I would say mobility. I think today's time everybody's mobile, right? Uh, I'm working from home today. Many of you guys are working from home today. Many of our salespeople are always on the field through their iPads and mobile phones. Everything we use is on a mobile phone. I don't think we need anything else if we have a mobile phone with us. Our work keeps on going on, right? So support this mobility, and that is very important in today's time. And support this social channel, because more and more ahead, I would say in future, what I foresee is this whole generation we are looking at, they will not look into one piece, or they will not sit at one piece. They will look for a complete BYOD, or I would say BYOC. Okay, so that is what will help increasing the CSAT. And one last important point: still keep your human touch. Complete automation cannot lead to CSAT. What I feel, uh, whatever bots you got, whatever automations we get, uh, you will never be able to get that complete customer satisfaction until unless there is a human touch, especially for if we are talking of this region. We are very emotional people, we are very cultural people, and somewhere we have to add that human touch to this technology to have that proper balance out and improvement in your customer satisfaction. We have seen a lot of examples. We all go through these social tweets and trolls where we see if it goes into a complete automation, how bad impact it can create if it is not taken in a right manner. Even if somebody is trying to put a message, if it is not interpreted in a right manner, it will go for a toss, right? So that human touch is also very important. Some of these factors will help definitely customer satisfaction, and especially in this world when we are talking of remote customer experience, remote working experience, these are very important points, what I feel.
Thank you. Thank you. Moving to our last set of question, and interesting. where we want to talk about and explore insights from investing in training, development, and technology to increase the skill of their workers. And here I would like to invite thoughts of first Mr. Durga Prasad. Over to you, Mr. Durga. Your thoughts on this.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Ekta. Thank you, everyone. Um, Interesting topics, and mostly I think it is related to my kind of a business I am in right now, and where we deal with
So, Durga, I guess we lost you. I think we lost Mr. Durga Prasad. There must be some connectivity issue. So, meanwhile, Mr. Durga Prasad joins in. I would like to invite Dr. Mr. Chandrasekhar Amolkar.
Yeah, thanks, Ekta. And I think this is one of the, I can say a real-time incident where we say, you know, we've moved from human-led to tech-enabled to tech-led human-enabled. While Mr. Durga Prasad kind of lost his connection, I'm sure there is some human at the back who's trying to fix that. So the world cannot function without humans. An employee experience or customer experience cannot be, you know, only taken care by machines, right? So we still need that brain sitting behind, you know, developing those codes and running it and ensuring that it does the job that is being programmed for. Coming back to training and development and for the L&D space, in the last 2 years, I think it's been a significant or a big job for organizations to nurture, retain, and recruit the best talent across the industry. uh, Work from home and hybrid models are here to stay, right? And in such a situations, it's important also to understand how we can improve the learning experience of our learners. If you look at the learners today, especially our Gen Z learners, right? There are so many apps in the market, they are glued to their cell phones. If we go with our conventional way of learning, right? Which I call more of a blended learning, where people were taught in the classroom, then they used to go on the shop floor to do hands-on. Now, because of the work from home environment, the same setup is now kind of taken care in a digitized fashion, where we have virtual instructor-led trainings, right? So virtual trainings, digital learnings have come in the forefront. While instructors can teach concepts, right, or rather kind of give more emphasis on how to apply a particular concept, a larger chunk of the fundamentals of any or a conceptual knowledge have moved to e-learning, right? So if I want to understand a concept today, I don't need a trainer. I can just go ahead, go through a quick 8 minute, 9 minutes video, right, on the internet, and I can learn and understand about that. But how to utilize that concept, or if I want to understand more about that, that's where I would need somebody as a virtual instructor who can kind of help me collaborate with other people so that I can get more use cases and is able to deploy that same concept in my job much better. So moving away from where we have training and then people move into production and OJT. Now training is a way of life. So today's learners, they want training to be a part of their job. They don't want to have a separate time where they sit and then they train. A lot of on-demand access, right, uh, of modules come into place. We move from a learning management system to a learning experience platform. So a lot of LXPs have come where content is curated specifically to the job that the learner is performing today, right? So it gives content specifically to what are the activities that he's handling, how can he improve those activities. If he wants to move to the next level, then what are the different training programs that he needs to go through. So with the help of AI, machine learning, right, the entire experience of the the learner has changed. uh, we earlier had gamification, we had simulations, they were there in the traditional training environment as well. Now everything is now kind of created on a digital platform. So today we have a lot of gamifications, we have leaderboards, where users can log in and they can go through different training modules, and that could be more knowledge intensive, at the same time behavioral. uh, so that's a fundamental change that I've seen in the way the industry have invested in building their entire learning culture, right? So that's what I see as a fundamental change, where organizations are investing more and curating content which is specific to the learners, giving them a more immersive learning experience.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chandrasekhar. We have Mr. Durga Prasad. He was some technical glitch he faced. So yes, Mr. Durga Prasad, I would like to invite your thoughts as well.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, there was a power cut. Suddenly the internet went off. I think
Once.
Mr. Chandrasekhar, yeah, almost covered most of what I'm supposed to speak. Thank you very much on that. Uh, why my opinion is learning and development is very crucial, for BPO kind of a setup today, is because it an end result of productivity. What we look at today, that is what is resulting into productivity. Okay, so learning is an experience, and everything else is just an information, is as quoted by Albert Einstein. So we believe in that. Why we have more spent on technology and learning and development is all came through at the time of pandemic. I started my career with a call center way back in 2000, where it was just coming up. So if you look at during the pandemic, overnight, we all had to get back to our homes and then stay, but the business didn't stop. We had to be connected with the customers and all. So in a way, the digital platform definitely helped us to do a online training to almost all my employees. We run a center of about 2000 employees, and today, almost even as I speak today, 50% of my employees are still work from home. So it is definitely a challenging, it was definitely challenging initially, but right now we are used to that, and then we are more comfortable with this digital kind of an era where we sit in one place and then kind of train people across pan India, whether we cater to languages of almost 9 to 10 customer care executives sitting in West Bengal or a Kerala or some Hyderabad. We cater to all these people. In that way, I would say, the technology front has definitely helped, and the learning and development. Why is it key? Is always, when you learn, I think that is what you implement in the process, and then that is what gives a result. Because the client today is highly demanding. Whether you work from home or whether you work from office,
Thank you, Mr. Durga Prasad. Okay, on the same point, Mr. Deepak Shetty would like to share his thoughts. So,
No,
Mr.
I,
Shetty,
I
please. Yeah.
thanks, Ekta. I just wanted to compliment what Chandrasekhar, talked about is the human touch, right? So that has to remain and that will stay for long, right? So it is like the tadka that we put, right? That is the end thing without which it will not taste good, and that will remain. So we need to invest on the training aspect. As Henry Ford said, the only worst thing that then training your employees and having them leave is not training them and having them stay, right? So what it brings, training brings to the table is not only a competitive advantage over your customers, when over your competition, when you train them, you make them understand what is required, and that is the cutting edge that you bring to the table. It also increases the loyalty, right? So when I say loyalty, it makes them feel more loyal to the company that they are working for. They make it makes them understand that they are part of the team, and they feel motivated, and less supervision is required. That is where your cost of operation goes down. And also getting a new person on board and training him, we lose almost 3 to 6 months of time. Then why not train the existing resource and make him stay with the company for long. So this is one of the aspect that I wanted to bring to the table specifically on this. So it has moved from LMS to the experience part of it. So that is one thing that we need to know. So that's it from me, Ekta.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Deep. So, any thoughts, Paritosh, your thoughts, Gavin, your thoughts, anybody would want to, because we are at the end of the session, and here I would like to invite final thoughts for the BPO,
No, I
reimagining
think
BPO.
I think in this topic these guys have given a great insight. So I don't have any comments on that or feedback on that. But yeah, I agree of all these things. I think these things are very important in today's time to motivate your people.
Okay. So I was just coming to it like, do we have any final thoughts by any of the thought leaders on the topic that we were talking, reimagining BPO through digital lenses? Any thoughts, any top pointers that was not covered and you would like to highlight? And then we close.
Yeah. So Ekta, I just want to kind of, you know, put this across is that with the changing times and the way we see the BPM industry moving, uh, for employees who are out there seeking for, good opportunities, it's important to stay relevant. And when I say stay relevant, there are a lot of emerging technologies that are coming up, right? It's important to, get acquainted to those skills. I mean, you might have a core skill, but it's important to have a complementary skill also, in hand. That will only increase the value and then the probability to fetch you know, a decent job that you always want to do, right? I mean, many a times, most of the people, uh, we have to work rather than we want to work. I mean, this gives us an opportunity to select the jobs that we want so that we get into an organizations where we want to work. Because that is a significant difference that happens when you have employees who chose an organization where they want to work than when they have to work. Because that's how an organization grows, where we have a lot of people which contribute or which fall into this bucket of where they want to work, right? And I think that the skill set of an employee then becomes very, very critical here. So a lot to learn, a lot of changes that are happening, and there is a lot to catch up. But yeah, it's an interesting journey.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think
Any
one piece which
messages?
I want to add is somewhere this digitalization or digitization or digital communication will keep on expanding. I think you will see more and more channels in the market. I think somewhere things will become common, commoditized. Something will become new innovations like messaging has already become commoditized. Speech pods are the new trends which we are talking of, but it will take time. I think automation on the agent side, the agent assist side will also become new trends. I think video is also becoming a key piece with the bandwidth rates going down, availability of bandwidth coming up, with the video quality becoming good. Adoption of video channel into your customer service or communications is becoming very important. So I think it's an evolving thing. I think more and more trends will come up. I think technology is changing very fast. I think, and like we all discussed, agility, flexibility, those are the things which everybody will have to adapt and everybody will have to ready with. So it's a new world. I think we used to talk about processes, testing, uh, doing the QA part, and then we do take used to take a business decision of whether you want to adopt that or not. But I think in last few years, I think things have changed. We have to go hand in hand. We have to find that balance of that faster to deploy and all those things. And the cloud is playing a very important role. So I think wherever Avaya can help, do let us know. We are there, and like we said, we have a complete product portfolio on the cloud, whether it is private, public, or hybrid. We have the right solutions there. Do reach out to us and let us know wherever we can assist. I'm sure we are helping you out, but we can strengthen that relationship further to end and serve the end customer.
Yes. Thank you. So I believe the final thoughts are here. Anybody else so that I can go for the closure? So I believe we had an interesting insights coming in from all the thought leaders. We missed few speakers, Mr. Vivek and Mr. Nitin being on board with us. No worries. We shall be connecting them again. So on the closing note, I would like to thank all the thought leaders for taking out your precious time, that's Friday noon, and sharing your insights on the BPO industry, how the digitization has changed the whole landscape of the BPO industry. Thank you, Avaya, Mr. Paritosh, and Gavin for sharing wonderful solutions for the BPO industry. We would be sharing and not missing our lovely audience. Thank you once again for joining us. We shall be sharing the entire session of the video, and also we would love to reconnect with you as Parito shared with Avaya for their wonderful solutions for the BPO industry. So thank you once again. Everyone stay safe and have a lovely weekend ahead. That's all.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Ekta. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.